This video is brought to you by echopluxmedia.com.
At 80,000 subscribers pretty quickly, and I did some religious satire kind of videos for a couple of years, and then I just kind of started running out of ideas, and around that time I started getting into 9/11 also, and I made one video about Building 7. I think it was in 2011. And that did really well. And I pretty much haven't done any of those creationist videos or religious satires in a number of years, but I made a number of 9/11 videos since then. And I find it really interesting, the crossover between religion and conspiracy theory. And it seems like a lot of the things that I noticed about creationists, I also noticed about conspiracy believers too.
And you see that primarily with 9/11 conspiracy?
Uh, yes, because it's kind of science related. I think that somewhat intelligent people are drawn to the 9/11 thing. I haven't gotten into the flat Earth business. I find it actually hard to believe that flat earthers actually exist. I know they do, but I have not gotten into that at all. I find the 9/11 thing very rich, and there's a lot of material there, and I've concentrated on 7 World Trade Center. It's the thing that I know the most. But certainly a lot of the behaviors that I saw with creationists, I also see with the 9/11 folks.
And you yourself used to be a truther. Can you give us a little story about that?
Yeah, it's something that I say, but it did not last very long at all. I think probably a week or two. Um, it was long enough though for me to understand kind of the mindset of getting sucked in to the idea of having special thinking, and I know something that very few people in the world know, and I want to evangelize that thinking to other people. I experienced that for about a couple of weeks, and then I tried reaching out to my brother, who's also, or I shouldn't say also, who's a very intelligent guy, and he just said, Occam's razor. He said, things fall down. Gravity points straight down, and that's that's the simplest explanation. And it's amazing how fast everything just kind of fell apart. And you know what? He's right. It's a lot simpler to believe that gravity did that than 1,000 ninja demolition people putting together a demolition, the likes of which has never happened before. So that immediately made me think, what a fucking dumbass I was for that brief time, and it kind of gave me an appreciation of people who, I call it deconverting twice. So I started out accepting the government's, what they call official story, right? As if this is North Korea. And then I got deconverted from that into believing 9/11 conspiracies. And then I got deconverted back to the official story again. And I think that anybody who's gone through that process of either, let's say, converting to evangelical Christianity and then converting back to atheism can really understand both sides in a way that most people, and even people who've only gone one way, who've been both an atheist and a creationist or vice versa, if they were born a creationist and converted to atheism, they don't have the same understanding, I believe, as somebody who went there and then came back and got to experience both conversion processes. So I'm thankful for the experience. It certainly exposed me to the basics, of things like architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth. People still to this day say, hey, have you ever heard of this group of experts? I'm like, yeah, look at the list. They're not experts.
So your story kind of sounds similar to mine. I went through a kind of religious phase, went from Catholic to Mormon to um, non-believing. So, and that also happened at the same time I was in my conspiracy phase.
Interesting.
And and yours seem your and I's seem to be similar when it comes to it didn't last long. Like I didn't actually know yours was just for a week, but I suppose like everybody when they look at videos on the internet, they get caught up, then they think to themselves, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. But
You can
um
read a lot of websites and see a lot of videos in 1 week. I'll
yeah.
just say that.
As for me, it just lasted I think it was less than 2 years, so not as horrific for us as it was for other people when we've heard similar stories.
Yeah. So if I can ask you, how deep in it were you? Did you were you a no planer, or how
It
how
was
far did you go?
basically anything Alex Jones was saying. He never
Mhm.
went as far as no planes, but he would go from theory after theory, talk, making all sorts of claims about 9/11, and basically wherever I was is where he was at the time.
Okay.
So, what do you think the current state of 9/11 conspiracy theories are since they've kind of like went to a nosedive. A lot of groups have become dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Mainline leaders have either gone out of the public light, or if they are in public light, they're just talking about other stuff, maybe equally as crazy, but they're just going down different rabbit holes.
Yeah, it's funny. I encounter people who are, I wouldn't say ex 9/11 conspiracy believers, but they, like you said, they moved on to other things. And I personally think that means that they can't defend their position anymore. And they've lost interest because a lot of people say, um, nobody knows what happens and we'll never know. So why even bother talking about it? And to me, that just seems like a defense mechanism. Oh, so now you don't want to talk about it? Uh, and yeah, pilots for 9/11 Truth has completely nosedived, so to speak. I don't think there's been any activity on that website for like 2 years.
Mm.
But architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth are doing a good job of keeping those donations rolling in. They've got their Leroy Halsey guy, the bridge expert, doing his first fire analysis ever, um, up there in Alaska. And I think there's some kind of grand jury thing that they also secured in New York. Like they got a grand jury to hear some evidence, which sounds really impressive, but actually you can do that about anything, and it's just a law. Like you go through certain procedures, and a grand jury has to hear what you say. So
Yeah.
that seems to be the state of it.
About that 9/11 hoax video, and I also wanted to know this. Those people that posted their response videos to that hoax video, did they immediately take down their response? Like in that,
You, I don't know. I never checked. I never went back to check to see whether they. Yeah, I should have. I assume so, but it's interesting because some people won't retract anything, no matter how embarrassed they get, and how no matter how badly you own them, they just keep it up there. Uh, so I wouldn't be surprised if those videos are still up there.
are you for calling people out publicly? Like I know in that video, you references to people you kind of kept out. Like
What do,
like in the video, somebody was saying this is amazing video footage. It's never been seen. www dot, and then it cuts there. Were you
Oh,
trying
I
to like?
cut it. I think I didn't do it just because I didn't want to expose them. I think I did it just so that they wouldn't get the publicity. I didn't want them to get a free commercial because, a lot of what we do on the internet is popularize the people that we hate the most, you know. Um, my sister political things that Trump has said, I'm like, just don't even say it. And that's exactly what he wants. If you don't want to popularize his ideas, then don't popularize them. So that's all I was doing there, was just trying to. And if people leave links on my videos, I delete the comments, because my videos are not their place to spread their favorite links around, and I just won't allow it.
And that's kind of why you also took down the hoax video, because you didn't want it to inadvertently spread misinformation.
Let's see. Trying to remember how that worked. I had a throwaway YouTube channel that it was on. I guess I took it down just because there were already so many mirrors of it. I mean, seriously, within 12 hours, there were 100 mirrors of that video, and they're
Yeah.
still up there,
Yes.
and they're still being shared.
Yeah, I've seen
And
it. I've seen it a couple times.
if you look on my latest Building 7 video, people have posted it saying, "Explain this," and it's almost amusing for me to reply and say, "I explain it here," and then I post the link where I expose that it was a hoax. And then
Have
there are
you
the people who don't believe that it's a hoax video, that the video that I created is the one real one and all of the others are fake, which just blows my mind that anybody would
and they're
go that far.
and they're saying you're claiming you made it in order to make it seem that they
Yes.
you're claiming.
I'm a hired agent who's, been put out there to say, "Hey, I'm actually a hoaxer, and you don't mind this video. It's a hoax video." Yeah. There are some crazy things that you have to believe to be that deep into it.
And it seems to be getting worse. Recently, CNN put out, or multiple news agencies put out, stories about what are called deep fake videos. Have you heard about those?
I've heard the term. You may have to explain to me what it is.
They're professionally made hoax videos that use the technology that you can make a literal sock puppet out of Obama
Oh,
saying some. You've seen that guy from Key and I think it's called Key and People.
Key and
He
Peele, yeah.
Key and Peele, yeah, he did that with of Obama saying, "I would never say this shit."
Yeah, right, right, right.
And apparently the Pentagon's taking it seriously in combating that, because nowadays seeing's not believing anymore. You don't know what
Yeah.
you're seeing.
Yeah, the technology is a little bit scary. I mean, I use Adobe After Effects, with explosions that I grabbed from an actual demolition video. But if you have access to actual CGI and the animation things that you're talking about, I mean, you can do anything.
You had another video. It was actually taken down, not by you, but by YouTube. It was a crisis actor video in which you yourself posed as a professional crisis actor.
Yes. I made a story that I've been a crisis actor since the 90s and that my first job was Columbine. Did you actually get to see that?
Yes, I saw the video. I
Okay, so
I I I, I
YouTube
usually
took it down, but it's still on Daily Motion.
oh,
So
okay.
I could send you the link if your viewers want to see it. But yeah, so the idea was that I appeared on Jeopardy, which actually happened. The real self me appeared on Jeopardy in 1996. So I used a clip of that, and then I said that the government saw me on there and decided to use me as a crisis actor, and they used me in Columbine, they used me in 9/11, they used me at Sandy Hook, and I found pictures where there was a guy who kind of looked like me, could be me if you really wanted to believe that. And I would circle circle the picture in each clip. There's me and there's me, and oh yeah, and I was also at Abu Ghraib, and I was the guy in the box with the wires. And the makeup lady was amazing. I thought it was a pretty funny video, but I guess YouTube is a little sensitive about crisis actors, and yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy that it was taken down. Crazy.
What exactly did they say? Like they say your video has been taken down for What reason did they say?
Bullying and harassment.
Probably by the mere mention of crisis actor.
Yeah, I guess that, 99% of any video that talks about crisis actors is going to be people bullying and harassing the actual victims of Sandy Hook. So I don't know if it was their algorithm or if a person actually looked at it. I just kind of laughed. My whole channel has been shut down twice, I think, for reasons that are really mysterious and unknown. And I managed to get it back thanks to some very nice people who helped me out. But to lose one video, big deal. Not the end of the world.
Did you try to appeal it?
That one video?
Yeah.
I think I clicked the appeal button and nothing happened. Yeah, I think I appealed it.
I also had a situation on my Facebook page. Sure you know about it. The Bigfoot meme when I compared crisis actors to Bigfoot, and
Oh yeah.
not one has either been captured. And I took a original crisis actor meme and just like made my own analysis of it with another meme. But yeah, YouTube, not YouTube, Facebook said the same thing, saying it was counteracting bullying and harassment.
Well, these companies, they have very few staff to take care of these things. I mean, when you think of how much footage is uploaded to YouTube all the time and how many posts are going on Facebook, they don't have somebody to look at all of those things. It's completely impossible. So they have to rely on these algorithms. And the second time my YouTube channel was shut down, I think it was for close to a month. I mean, I could not. I did appeal, and some guy from India rejected my appeal, and I had to jump through a bunch of hoops and get people on Twitter to help me personally to try to reach one live person who could possibly help. Because I'm not over the 100,000 subscriber limit where I guess you get like a special person to help you if you're in trouble. I didn't have that. So it was algorithms, outsourced people in Asia, and then finally, through some personal help, I got to somebody in there. But yeah, they just don't have enough people to do that stuff, and it's a real problem I think with YouTube and Facebook is that the volume greatly outweighs the number of people who can kind of police it. It would be like living in a city of 1 million with 4 cops. It's just impossible for them to handle everything.
And YouTube has recently announced that, yeah, we just talked about that they're cracking down on that stuff. Do you think that's inadvertently going to affect skeptics like it did briefly with us?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the algorithms are sophisticated enough artificial intelligence is not sophisticated enough to tell the difference between, I mean, there are people who can't tell whether one of my videos is satire or if I'm being serious. So,
Yeah, I
yeah,
thought early on, a couple years ago when I first saw your atheism rant videos, I thought you were being serious at first. That was before I discovered there was stuff like satire back then.
yeah, yeah. I always describe my audience as being 4 quadrants. They're the atheists who get it and think it's funny. They're the atheists who don't get it and are outraged. And then there's the opposite. There's the Christian creationists who don't get it, who are, I guess, pleased. And then the ones who get it who are outraged. So I get comments from all types.
Do you think satire is also a contributing problem when it comes to fake news? Like even real news publications, they do have a satire. A lot of times when they post it on Facebook, you may not
Yeah.
know it's satire.
Yeah, there's Andy Borowitz of the New Yorker. I think that's his name.
Yeah, that's him. I read.
Who's he, and it's under the New Yorker, so it looks kind of official. But I think he did something today about. Well, I can't remember what it is, but
Was it about Trump saying our Constitution's unfair to him?
No, I think it was that he's against intelligence. He's come out against intelligence.
Well, recently he technically has kind of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. Yeah, it's a problem. And then you get the response that, oh, it was just satire when people are actually being serious.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
like,
Rush Limbaugh has done that a number of times. Maybe
oh
Alex
yeah.
Jones did it too in his defense. Like he may have said that some of his stuff was satire. So, eh, yeah, it's a mess.
Uh, you were mentioned in the book "Escaping the Rabbit Hole" by.
Oh, was I?
Oh
I
yeah,
haven't
man.
got
There's a whole chapter on you.
what?
Uh,
Really?
yeah, chapter 10, Carl, the temporary truther.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Maybe you should
surprise.
have sent me a copy.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask him if I made the acknowledgments page or wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Actually,
I totally need to get a copy of that now.
yeah. I did an interview with him recently for his podcast, which he hasn't put up yet. It's supposed to be called Tales from the Rabbit Hole. I talked to him both on his show and his and when he was writing this book. This was a couple months ago. I had a list of top 10 ex conspiracy theorists, and
Hmm.
you're one of them. And
Oh, cool. Thank you.
I think he said my list was helpful, so you were on that list. So I guess that's why you made it in the book.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, I also know him through Metabunk, obviously. I mean, he does such amazing stuff on there. But then,
Oh yeah,
people claim that Metabunk is a government project. So, go figure. That and Snopes, of course. Snopes is also a government project.
I'd show you the book inside the book, but I don't want to get flagged for copyright.
Ah, yeah, you
Yeah,
don't want to do that.
yeah, but you can get it, man. You're in there.
Yeah, cool, cool. Very good. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, no problem. Alex Jones has gone through a too many lawsuits to count ones that he's lost, and currently with Sandy Hook, someone who he claimed was the shooter at Parkland.
Oh,
Um,
really?
where do you think those lawsuits are going? Do you think he's going to win or he's going to lose on grounds of free speech?
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I don't have a crystal ball. I, of course, want him to lose. I want him to lose badly. But, you know, the, the First Amendment is pretty wide open. And it's not yelling fire in a crowded theater, is it?
No. Well,
But it kind of is
um,
in a
yeah.
slow burn kind of way. Yeah, it kind of is in a slow burn kind of way. Uh, it, it could be yelling fire over a period of 10 years that leads to what the effect is at the end of that. Um, I don't know. I have no idea.
My best guess, based on precedent, recently with the Boston Marathon bombing, I think it was the New York Post that posted a front cover that said "Bagmen," and it falsely identified who the FBI was looking for, and
Mm,
those kids won that lawsuit. So, just based on the fact that that Jones said that this guy was the shooter when he wasn't,
yeah,
I think
there's precedent for that.
yeah, I think he's going to lose that one for sure. And on
Yeah,
when it comes to the Sandy Hook families claiming they're actors, I don't know. He's not claiming they're murderers, but he's claiming they're fraudsters, which we'll see where that goes.
yeah. I haven't gotten that deep into the Sandy Hook thing either. But I mean, how do I guess it's like the 9/11 passengers. Like they just claim that they're not real people, or I mean, there was a school there, right?
It,
It just blows my mind that people can. I mean, I know people who are actual 9/11 conspiracy believers who think the Sandy Hook thing is ridiculous.
I
I
think
don't
with
know how people can support that.
it just they're trying to rewrite their view of the world. Like they're tender about guns and anything happen when it comes to gun laws. So probably they
Mm,
rewrite reality in order to make it
yeah,
seem like this is not really happening. Mass
right.
shooters aren't a thing. This is just to get my guns from my cold dead hands. You know?
Yeah. So in your experience, they're largely gun defenders?
Yeah, there's a large, substantial portion of conspiracy theorists that are gun lovers.
Huh.
Not that that's a bad thing, but yeah, it's a cultural
Yeah.
thing with them.
Yeah. Okay.
I think, and Jones seems to be talking about 9/11 conspiracies less often. Have you noticed that?
I don't really tune in,
Oh, okay.
so I haven't seen many headlines about it, but it's probably just one of those things where he goes where the eyeballs and the ears are, and the it does seem like the audience has the 9/11 audience has decreased, but the ones who are there are as fervent as ever, perhaps more than they ever have been, which is weird to me.
Yeah, and what I mean by he's talking about it less, like he's, of course, what you said about the audience changing, of course, with his support of Trump. And if you listen to Alex Jones today and listen to how he was, and most of his shows are available online going back to 2009. If you listen to him back then, he sounds nothing like the Jones of today.
Oh yeah.
Like he was mentioning 9/11 every single show, but now he's just talking about how great Trump is, basically.
Hmm. Wow. Yeah.
It's a weird state of affairs.
Yeah. I guess he'll do anything for cash.
uh, I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, it was great meeting you, and love your
And you
stuff. And
and and for
yeah,
those of
keep
you listening, you could buy a book that Edward Current is in. I just revealed to him, so you could buy that. Do you?
does Mick say that my real name is Edward Current, or my fake name is Edward Current, or what? Because that is
Uh,
a fake name.
oh, it just says Carl the Truther.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure it just says that. But yeah, it's a good book. So,
Yeah, very neat, very neat.
all right, I appreciate your time.
All right, thanks a lot.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye bye.